trying to talk about everything but the housing questions I asked. And it's easy to understand why. When he took office, housing was affordable. Now it's impossibly expensive. In fact, it's much more expensive than around the rest of the world. Vancouver is now the third most overpriced housing market, and Toronto the 10th worst in the world, worse than Manhattan, than Singapore, than London, than countless other places with more people, more money, and less land. In fact, the average house price last year in the United States was almost half less than it is here in Canada. Why is housing so much more expensive here than elsewhere in the world? Why?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, we have continually invested in programs and supports for Canadians that have seen millions of families entering new homes, getting the supports they needed, millions of refurbishments, millions of supports right across the country. But it's interesting to contrast the Conservative record on that. In the last election campaign, the Conservative platform promise on housing was to give tax breaks to wealthy landlords. That was their approach on housing. Well, we contrasted with significant investments in delivering for first-time home buyers, delivering for people facing homelessness, delivering for Canadian families to access better housing.
Well, Mr. Speaker, he would have you believe that Canadians have never had it so good. Well, ask the 9 and 10 young people who believe they will never own a home, the 35-year-olds living in their parents' basements because they can't afford the new doubling of the average down payment, mortgage payment, or rental costs. And speaking of paychecks, when he took office, the average paycheck, you only needed 39% of the average paycheck to make monthly payments on the average house. That number has risen to 62%. By every objective measurement, things are more expensive and Canadians are taking home less. How did he spend so much to achieve so little?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Across the country, we've seen record job growth. We've seen record number of Canadians lifted out of poverty. We've seen investments to fight climate change that have put more money in people's pockets. We've continued to move forward in growing the economy. But it is only, Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader trying to say Canadians have never had it so good, because we know Canadians are struggling. And that's why we continue to step up with investments in dental care, investments in low-income rental supports, two initiatives that the Conservatives voted against. We will continue to be there to deliver for Canadians while we deliver a better future for everyone.